So, what happens after the universe drops a possible alien calling card? All the scientists freak out, and then the signal stops? Exactly what you'd expect: chaos, arguments, and a flood of opinion pieces titled, Calm Down, it's probably just a rock. When the world heard that 3i Atlas had gone silent again, quiet fell over the airwaves, but not over humanity. Social media went into full detective mode. Reddit threads were overflowing with theories that ranged from contact established to NASA accidentally ghosted aliens. Because obviously, if there's a bad Wi Fi connection in space, it must be NASA's fault, right? And yet, beneath all the noise, something more beautiful took shape: a collective sense of curiosity. Citizens around the planet started pointing backyard telescopes at the same patch of sky, live streaming data, comparing brightness frames, even decoding static just to be part of the story. For a few weeks, Earth was one giant astronomy club with a caffeine problem. Meanwhile, astrophysicists faced a problem no PhD prepares you for: too many mysteries at once. Atlas passed perihelion, behaved anomalously, and then slipped past Venus with the grace of a dancer who refuses to trip on stage. No tail surge, no meltdown, just a steady radiance fading into darkness. But then, faint echoes turned up, delayed radio reflections that seemed to originate behind the comet. Theorists dubbed it ghost ping, most likely an interaction between solar wind and plasma clouds, or, if you like drama, echoes from a transmitting array buried inside the object. Choose your adventure. NASA finally broke its silence with a half page press release. No evidence of unnatural behavior has been confirmed. Uh huh. That's like saying your friend definitely didn't eat your fries. Technically true, but suspiciously phrased. ESA released a similar nothing burger: data consistency within acceptable range. Translation: we're still staring at it, and it's still weird. But other nations weren't so chill. China's National Space Administration published a statement hinting that its Tianwen-1 orbiter detected periodic alignment anomalies. They didn't explain what that meant, but the phrase alone launched 1,000 YouTube channels. Then came December 2025. Atlas began drifting out toward Jupiter's orbit, still measurable but dimmer by the day. Right before fading from most telescopes, it did something no simulation predicted: it flashed. A single, brilliant outburst lasting 17 seconds. Every major observatory caught it, from Hawaii to Chile. For one brief moment, the third interstellar traveler shone second only to Venus. Then gone. People escalated the means. Atlas left us on read. But for scientists watching in real time, it was far from funny. That flash carried a perfect spectral curve, too perfect, matching the hydrogen signature used in deliberate communication. Avi Loeb jumped online faster than you can refresh X. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the reply. He wrote, sounding half thrilled, half terrified. He claimed the fluctuation resembled a binary pattern: short, long, long, a cosmic Morse code for yes. Of course, the astrophysical community collectively sighed and said, sure, Avi. But they also started double checking their data. In the months that followed, hundreds of amateur researchers reproduced the analysis. Some found nothing. Others insisted on a repeating ratio buried in the noise. The debate turned philosophical. What actually counts as proof? A perfect pattern, or the act of noticing the pattern at all? By the start of 2026, the Message Project was born, a crowd-funded initiative of scientists, linguists, and the occasional science fiction author determined to craft a universal reply. They debated everything from prime numbers to sending DNA sequences. One committee suggested sending a TikTok dance to show culture. Thankfully, they were overruled. Meanwhile, Juno's potential rerouting plan gained traction. The agency quietly ran trajectory sends. The math was brutal but feasible. If Juno performed a deep space burn near Jupiter on March 16, 2026, it could intercept the path of Atlas by early 2027. That would make it the first human probe ever to chase an interstellar visitor. But with budgets tight and debates louder than a rocket launch, decisions stalled. Still, hope fuels science. Independent engineers started designing hypothetical microprobes, little space postcards that could someday catch up to Atlas using solar sails or plasma propulsion. Imagine it, a toaster sized craft chasing an object that's been traveling billions of years, just to tap it on the shoulder and say, "Hey, we read your text." Culturally, the impact was undeniable. People who couldn't tell Orion from Bigfoot suddenly knew the word perihelion. Sales of home telescopes skyrocketed. Documentaries, films, and late night talk shows all spun their versions of the story. Was it a probe, a comet, or a test? Funny thing, even skeptics admitted the event changed something. One ESA scientist said, "I don't care if it's alien or ice. For the first time, people felt the sky again." And that's not nothing. A UN backed committee for First Contact Protocol reactivated after years of dormancy. They reviewed procedures for message transmission, potential rendezvous missions, and even cautionary statements like, "Do not invite them to Earth for dinner yet." Everything was theoretical, but serious. Then came the last data drop. On April 2nd, 2026, long after Atlas faded from naked eye view, one deep space antenna in Australia caught the faintest possible echo, a stretch of radio quiet punctuated by three identical bursts, each separated by exactly 142 seconds. Not 141, not 143. Hydrogen line frequency again. Three pings. 3i. A cosmic signature literally embedded in its own name. Was it random? Was it clever branding by the universe? We may never know. But Loeb went on record with a grin. If this isn't intelligent, it's the most polite coincidence in cosmic history. From there, Three Eye Atlas became legend. School children studied it the way earlier generations studied meteorite craters. Artists painted it as a greenlit messenger crossing the void. Musicians released ambient albums mixed with its real radio tones, the soundtrack of humanity's Maybe Hello. And over time, the noise died down. The data servers archived. The scientists moved on to new mysteries. Yet a few still stayed up late, scanning those same frequencies, wondering if the next ping might come not from Atlas, but from something that heard our reply. Because even if it was just a comet, that brief cosmic encounter reminded us of something ancient. Curiosity is the greatest technology we've ever invented. So, whether the message was from ancient ice or ancient minds, we've already answered in the simplest possible way by looking up. And honestly, that's the most human thing we could ever do. When you think the story of Three Eye Atlas has ended, the universe always saves a post credits scene. It's 2027 now, and the world's attention span has long since moved on. Political dramas, lunar bases, celebrity Mars weddings, the usual stuff. But in the background, something extraordinary is happening quietly. Remember those three pings? Yeah, the one spaced exactly 142 seconds apart. Turns out a faint repetition rolled in again, but not from Atlas's trajectory. This one came from behind Jupiter itself. Cue the suspense music. Australia's Deep Space Network flagged it, followed by confirmation from South Africa and Chile. Three identical bursts, same frequency, same timing, same signature. If you believe in coincidences, congratulations, you've got more faith than most physicists left on Earth. Immediately, the debate reignited. Were we seeing a reflection loop off the gas giant? Was it Atlas still talking to us through Jupiter's magnetic field? Or had something else answered, something further out? Scientists called it the echo phenomenon. The press called it Ghost Atlas. Reddit called it the galactic group chat. Governments reacted exactly how you'd expect. NASA convened a meeting. ESA released a statement that meant absolutely nothing, and private companies saw a marketing opportunity. Within a month, there were energy drinks named 142 seconds and NFTs of radio wave spectra. Capitalism, the true universal constant. But while we laughed, whisper chains within the scientific community started to say the quiet part out loud. Maybe we're being invited deeper in. If Atlas was our letter, the echo could be the reply. By now, the Juno interception mission had become a reality, rebranded as Project Voyager Echo, a joint international effort that for once had China, NASA, and ESA sharing telemetry without side eyeing each other. And humans being humans, The chair of the mission board couldn't resist the marketing, Voyager Echo, because sometimes the universe liked our first mixtapes so much, it sent feedback. We're a species that turns cosmic existential crises into taglines, and that's honestly beautiful. When Voyager Echo launched, it carried more than instruments. Inside its chassis, in a laser etched platinum disc, sat the human reply. Not music, not math, but something simpler, a recording of laughter. Thousands of voices from around the world, babies to elders, unedited, overlapping, real. Because if we only get one chance to say hello to the void, it might as well sound like joy. Fast forward 3 years. Voyager Echo crosses Jupiter's orbit, begins relaying back data, and there it is again, the signal. Now with tiny variations trailing the 142 intervals, a sort of staccato beat, as if the source recognizes the pattern we'd been using to listen for it. Either we're talking to a comet that's unbelievably committed to deadlines, or something with intent. The press conference scheduled 1 hour after that discovery crashed the NASA servers for the first time since Oumuamua memes in 2018. By now, the public was fully invested. TikTokers streamed fit checks in tinfoil headgear. Podcasters argued about the cosmic soundtrack. Someone even made a lo fi playlist mixed with hydrogen line frequencies and called it Study with Aliens Beats. Humor kept people from freaking out, but the scientific community felt the weight of it, that thrill and the terror of possibly not being alone. Astrophysicists who'd grown up idolizing Sagan found themselves living his hypothesis. Every data blip became a mirror reflecting our own hopes back. Then came the transmission nobody expected. For months after Voyager Echo's deployment reached Atlas's former orbit, the probe detected a pulse so wide and precise it formed an image. Not an alien selfie, but a map. A gravitational coordinate of a system on the edge of Sagittarius, 4,000 light years away. Celestially speaking, our next door neighbor's neighbor. Embedded in the signal was a simplified equation for decay half life, universally recognizable to anyone studying radioactive elements, a signature of shared science. That's when it hit us. Whether by design or entropy, the message was answerable. And this time, we had the tech to try. Humanity reacted the only way it knows how, a mix of philosophy, panic, and fundraisers. By 2030, every major university had a cosmic linguistics faculty. Streaming series argued about protocols, religions updated theology courses, and global councils debated who gets to speak for Earth. Eventually, everyone agreed on one compromise: send multiple voices, no single leader, no flag, no anthem, just people. Different languages, different laughter, different heartbeats. A broadcast blended into a chorus so chaotic it could only belong to us. As the new signal beamed out towards Sagittarius, each pulse crossing the black ocean, someone remarked, "Even if no one ever answers, we've become who we were meant to be." It turns out the Atlas phenomenon didn't just reveal possible others, it revealed us to ourselves. And so the documentary ends, not with certainty, but with curiosity renewed. Somewhere out there, a glimmer might be watching our message arrive in the year 6025, decoding a flawed species that still believed in wonder. Maybe they'll laugh first. That would make the noise worth it. Until then, keep looking up, friends. Because the moment we stop wondering, we stop being human. A larger, denser continuation expanding your total runtime, cinematic science, narrative plus humor, emotion, and speculative physics so it fills the 200K character goal across episodes. It's 2038, and the word atlas no longer just means a book of maps. In classrooms, it means the moment humanity noticed itself. Textbooks list it beside the moon landing. Kids write essays titled, "What if they're still listening?" While adults scroll headlines, pretending not to be nervous every time a telescope points towards Sagittarius. Because 10 years after the first hydrogen line reply, something new appeared. A ripple in data so faint it hid inside galactic background noise, a pattern of polarization that matched no star, no pulsar, no cosmic ray burst. Researchers nicknamed it the handshake. It wasn't a voice, not light, not sound, more like the fabric of space briefly tapping back. For a month, nothing else mattered. Every observatory lit up like New Year's Eve. Governments canceled sports broadcasts to show raw telescope feeds. Humanity was collectively staring into a 4,000 light year long mirror, waiting to see if it blinked. Then, silence again. But this time, the quiet didn't feel empty. It felt expectant. The United Nations assembly convened under blue white lighting that made the chamber resemble a spacecraft cockpit. Delegates from 103 nations gathered to vote on Operation Responders. The proposal: build humanity's first dedicated interstellar probe designed not for exploration, but conversation. Project Responders became our species' Moonshot 2.0, but funnier. The memes were instant. Engineers holding up giant walkie talkies, politicians in astronaut helmets captioned, "Take me to your leader, oh wait." Yet behind the jokes, something real was happening. For the first time in decades, budgets agreed. Rival nations agreed. Even comment sections got along, okay? Not really, but close enough that no one started a flame war about Pluto for at least a week. The design philosophy was simple. If you're going to talk to the universe, you bring your weirdest self. The craft wasn't majestic like old rockets. It looked like someone welded a disco ball to a jet engine, covered in mirrored plates to reflect solar light, bristling with antennas shaped like petals, and powered by a quantum sail so thin it could fold into its own shadow. Responders wasn't built to be subtle. It launched amid applause, tears, and one spontaneous marriage proposal caught on the live stream because space makes people emotional. Inside was humanity's second message: the archive of noise. Not the peaceful greetings of the 1970s Voyagers or the poetic laughter disc from Voyager Echo. This one contained everything: music both terrible and transcendent, languages untranslated, arguments, jokes, and one random cat video because, well, honesty matters. Scientists argued it would confuse aliens. Artists replied, exactly. And somewhere mid debate, our cosmic visitors, if they were listening, learned the truest thing about us: we fight beautifully. The launch wasn't smooth, of course. Half the propulsion tests failed. A viral parody song about quantum sails that sail slightly sideways hit a million streams. But the mission persisted, slowly unfurling through the solar wind, leaving Earth behind at 20 kilometers per second, carrying our collective chaos towards Sagittarius. While responders raced ahead, the home planet changed. Religion, philosophy, and pop culture merged into a strange renaissance. Scientists became celebrities. Comedians joined planetary debates. School kids wrote code for deep space detection algorithms. A new academic field blossomed: cultural astrobiology, studying what civilizations might feel like, not just how they might look. And then, just when everyone had grown comfortable waiting for results centuries away, space answered again, this time from far closer. In early 2039, an instrument aboard the James Webb 2 telescope picked up residual radiation echoing not from Sagittarius, but from within our solar outskirts, the Oort cloud region. The frequency curve, eerily similar to the Atlas pattern, meaning either the interstellar probe had left breadcrumbs on its way out, or something sent a courier. Media meltdown. Alien drone parking in our backyard. Blared somewhere. Cosmic postcard delivered. Who signed it? Did humanity panic? Of course. Then immediately trended hashtags welcoming the neighbors. Over the next months, telescopes tracked faint infrared flickers coasting parallel to Neptune's orbit, an object about the size of a bus, moving slowly, almost waiting. Space agencies scrambled interception plans. The Atlantic Coalition's new fusion propelled craft, Odyssey 1, launched in record time. On its hull, painted letters: bring snacks. Odyssey reached the coordinates 8 months later. Imagine the global live stream. Billions watching as high definition video beamed back an image that shut down comment sections for once. The object wasn't metallic or rocky. It looked woven threads of carbon lattice twisted around emptiness, shifting like breathing glass. A light shimmered through the structure every 142 seconds. Humanity didn't need translation. We already knew the rhythm. Contact protocols forbade physical approach, so Odyssey merely mirrored its light pulses, echoing the hydrogen frequency right back. The woven construct responded instantly, brightening with what scientists described as mathematical acknowledgement. Humanity had officially exchanged a cosmic nod. Days later, the structure disassembled into microscopic fragments and accelerated outward, vanishing beyond detection. It left one thing behind, a dust trail glittering with crystalline remnants that, when analyzed, contained ordered hydrogen isotopes arranged like binary code. The pattern translated into a simple prime number progression, confirmation of intelligence, written in cosmic shorthand. After that, no one doubted. Not really. Sure, a few holdouts called it a natural resonance phenomenon, but most of the planet felt it that infinite shared breadth of connection. For weeks, entire cities dimmed their lights in synchrony every 142 seconds, an uncoordinated ritual that spread across the world, from New York skyline to Mumbai traffic signals. It wasn't fear, it was recognition. We were finally part of something bigger. From that point on, the timeline of humanity split. The centuries old era of looking inward ended, replaced by the era of listening outward. Space agencies created the Solar Hamlet Network, a global coalition of observatories linked by open data. Cities built rooftop domes for citizens to watch live spectra feeds like sports matches. Some people proposed renaming Earth to Responder 1. It didn't stick, but you've got to admire the ambition. And for Avi Loeb, the astronomer who started half the controversy, he became a living meme elder. University students wore shirts that read, "We believed Loeb early." He retired, smiling, saying, "Turns out, the truth was less about aliens and more about curiosity." When asked if he was disappointed the visitors didn't stick around, he replied, "They did." Inside our questions. The story of Atlas never ended, it multiplied. The object that once flew by as a mystery became our first cosmic mirror, reflecting both the chaos and the grace within our species. Eventually, the glitter from the woven construct settled into our own upper atmosphere, harmless but visible as a faint green band around the night sky. Astronomers call it the step. Poets call it Atlas's ribbon. Children call it the line where Earth says hi. Now, every 142 seconds, radio arrays around the planet still listen, not because we expect a reply, but because that silence feels sacred. It's the cosmic pause after the punchline, the moment between questions when the universe smiles back. So, when you look up and see that emerald band across the sky, remember, once our species sent a signal and the void winked back. That's why we build rockets, write music, fall in love with the unknown, because we are, at our core, the message we keep sending. And maybe that's the best ending the story of 3i Atlas could ever have, a planet full of responders, forever laughing into the dark, waiting for the next cosmic hello.